The thing about living in the city is that calm simply isn't going to happen by accident, especially in a place like New York, where it feels like everything is designed to draw your attention. The hustle, the bustle, the crazy energy. Really, the reason why we live here. But if you're not careful, you can burn yourself out if you don't take the time and really the intentionality to carve out a space for yourself, to ground yourself and just be calm. For me, that's where the idea of an analog life comes in. It's really not about rejecting technology or, eschewing the modern way of doing things. It's more about carving out a space to center yourself and just truly ground yourself, just to quiet all that noise in your head, calm your nerves, regulate your nervous system. I realized that city living aside, the world we live in today will really force you into a frantic pace of life, whether it's work, kids, travel, activities, friends, hanging out, just everything is just happening so quickly and so constantly. And when you have everything at a finger's touch, so much entertainment, with sport for choice, it's sort of hard really to get a sense of who you are, what you actually enjoy, and really savor things, because I feel like it's just constantly on to the next, on to the next. For me, this became really evident actually when I first started growing plants in this apartment. The first time I kind of sat down to do my plant care, just shut down and focus on nothing but the plant. It wasn't about any deadlines. It wasn't about going somewhere and, doing something. It was not about scrolling and flicking through things. It was not about doing a million things at once. It was like one of the first times in a long time that I had sat down, focused on one thing, and just done it. And honestly, it did wonders for me, completely changed my perspective on life and reminded me of how things used to be when I was younger. And I actually realized, who says I can't have that every day of my life? Like, it's my choice, right? And so now I deliberately carve out the time to care for plants. Every day I will carve out some time, whether it's just a few minutes or whether it's multiple hours, to care for my plants. I will take time to do my skincare. I will take time to savor a nice cup of tea. Like in the summer, I'll sit on the roof and just enjoy my tea. Like, even though it's winter, I'm still honestly enjoying a delicious cup of tea. This is hibiscus ginger. Um, and just really, really taking the time to appreciate it, savor it how it's supposed to be savored, right? I'm sure if you've been watching this channel for a while, you will have noticed that in addition to having a lot of plants, I have a ton of books. I used to be such an avid reader that I was the type of person who would bring a copy of whatever I was reading to the nightclub. I was that person. My friends just used to think, my friends just used to wonder, they roll their eyes at me because I took a book everywhere I went. Now, obviously, once you have kids, life looks different and some things fall by the wayside. And for me, I never thought reading would be one of those things, but somehow, just slowly, little by little over the years, it got relegated to something I only did at home. And then as smartphones and social media and streaming and endless choice came into play, I just found myself reading less and less. And I became someone who owns books and somehow doesn't really read them. So that is something that, the same way I've been able to reconnect with the essence of myself through caring for my plants, I am going to be making a very concerted effort this year to incorporate more reading purely for pleasure into my day-to-day routines and my rituals. I'll be spending a lot of time with my books, I think. I'm at home today and everybody is out for work or school. So I actually have a few hours to myself because I'm done working for the day. And I thought it would be great if we spent some time together. We'll do some plant care, which, because it's the new year and we went away over the break, involves just some general watering, a little bit of cleaning, removing removing dead leaves. There's probably a couple of repots in there, although I don't know if we'll get to it today. And then I really, really want to declutter my bookshelf as well. So spend some time with me. Let's mess around with the plants a bit. Let's clean them, water them, and let's declutter the bookcase because I think when the bookshelf is decluttered, it will help me in my intention to spend a lot more time reading. And yeah, I want to enjoy displaying my books and checking them out again. So shall we? Before we start, I need to clean up this these broken bits from some new plant pots I ordered that arrived smashed. So that's annoying and means I won't be able to do some of the plant styling I wanted to do, but I'm contacting customer service and hopefully they send me new ones. So frustrating because they were beautiful, just concrete pots. This is the one out of the three that actually made it in one piece. I recently repotted my Moroccan Esmeralda and put it in there, but have some organizing to do. Okay, so I'm going to take the random pieces of the pot and I'll put them in the hallway to take downstairs. I feel like every time we do plant care, I always start on this side of the room, which understandably because hey, it's beautiful. But even though I do have actually a lot of reorganization to do here, because like I said, I just repotted this and now everything is kind of out of whack. I have some stuff to figure out here. I'm actually not gonna start here today because I keep starting here and then everything else is getting neglected, which is annoying. So for today, let's start on this side of the room. Now, everything here probably does need water and there's some repotting to be done. This guy does not need a repot. It is, however, full of fungus gnats, which is annoying. But I digress. So we're going to start on this side and just work our way around here, see what all of them need. And then once we're done with caring for the plants in this corner, we will head over to declutter the bookshelf. After we declutter the bookshelf, if we have time, maybe we'll pop back for some more plant care, or maybe we'll just leave it for a different day. But yeah, today I want to hopefully focus on sorting this corner out and getting everybody water. We're going to clean their leaves. I think maybe we have one repot here, maybe two, I'm not sure. But repotting is the thing that takes the most time. So let's get a move on. Let's start with this guy. So this plant, hold on, let me show you properly. So this is a begonia, of course, that I got. It's I can't even remember what it's called. It's a hybrid. It's iron crossed with something. I don't remember what it's crossed with. I will have a look in my archives and see if I wrote it down somewhere, but it's basically a begonia hybrid and I love this plant. It's truly stunning. But as you can see, I haven't quite mastered its care because it's got these crispy bits. Now, I'm not putting this in, I'm not going to grow any begonias in a greenhouse or grow tent. Most of my plants are not in the tent, and any that are there are coming out into ambient because I can't be bothered with that anymore, to be honest. So my grow tent I think is gonna be reserved for if I ever import plants again. I'm gonna collapse it. It's a very small tent anyway, and just store it away. I just think I'm gonna use that room, that alcove where I keep it for something else, more space for the kids. And so there are only four plants in there right now, but all of them need to come out into open air. Well, maybe we'll bring a couple of them out today. Hmm. And so, yeah, I'm not putting this in here, so it needs to figure itself out. I do not know why the edges are crispy, although the new leaves that are coming in do not have crispy edges, so it could just be that maybe I'm now giving it the care it wants and I wasn't before. Maybe I was keeping it too dry. I don't know. And I'm not sure. I suspect that there's too much perlite in the potting mix, but I do try to stay on top of its watering. Anyway, when I potted it up, whichever soil I used was basically crazy with fungus gnats. And so now they're basically, this plant has fungus gnats. It's very annoying. I have been treating it. Is that a larva? I have been treating it with mosquito dunks. I have some sticky traps on the way, which is crazy. In all my years growing plants, I have never, ever, ever had a case of fungus gnats so bad that I had to use sticky traps. Ever. I have only, I usually just stop watering for a few days and they die and it's good. So the fact that these have persisted for over a month now means that this, whatever brought them in here, was crazy infested with them. And so I will be conducting full on warfare. I will be using mosquito dunks, systemic, and the sticky traps. I don't want any lectures from anybody about the systemic. I'm done with the gnats. I'm not going to do it. So that is what I'm doing. um, Starting, well, why don't we start now? I will water with mosquito dunks and then use systemic. And tomorrow when the traps come, I will add them. See? This gnat flying around. This is really annoying me. I'm just gonna go rinse out the residual, the gnats, you know, the dead gnats that are in here. I'll be right back. I'm also gonna take the chance to just clean everybody's leaves, um, with a mixture of peppermint castile soap, peroxide, neem oil, and water. Some people add rubbing alcohol to this solution. I don't, because I have had that damage, the emergent leaves on some of my anthuriums, and I've just noticed that when you do that over time, the plant struggles. So I prefer not to do that. Like, it's the kind of thing that tends to work well as a one-time solution, but then you can't keep doing it. And so I don't do that. I just do these. But I love to spray the plants with these. I just feel like it does a really good job of removing, you know, of dealing with some of those issues on contacts, and the plants seem to be quite happy for it. So um, the begonias, I'll lightly spray them, but I'm not gonna wipe because they've got all those tiny hairs, and I think the leaves are quite sensitive. So I'm not gonna do that, but I will spray it because sometimes this will catch, the neem oil will catch a fungus gnat or two and kill it on contact. So that's not a bad thing. Okay, so this is 1 part vermiculite, 1 part bark fines, and 3 parts Miracle Grow potting soil. And I think it looks moisture retentive and aerated at the same time. I've added my systemic to this in case the fungus gnat situation came from this. And yeah, hopefully that takes care of that. So I'm just going to find a pot that makes sense. I'm definitely one of these people that always has a million pots sitting around. So we're going to go from this one to this one. I know this looks crazy because this is so much bigger than this one. But what I'm thinking I'm going to do is cut this one. I'm going to cut it to make it more shallow because this is the cover pot and I want to be sure that none of the plastic pot shows over the rim of the cover pot. So right now it's showing. I'm going to cut this whole top bit off to make it more shallow so that it sits properly inside of here. And then I'm going to repot it. So let me cut it first. I'll be right back. Now this does have jagged edges. I didn't do a very good job cutting it, but it'll have to do. And so now I think that's not so ridiculous at all. So let's repot. First, we're gonna take this out. Oops. Remove any dry dead leaves. Go. This one is on its way out, but I'm not gonna remove it just yet, I think. And oh gosh, I think I just broke something. Uh-oh. I think I just cracked something here. Gosh. Okay. So this is our root ball. Now, begonias have such fine roots that it's just difficult. Well, I broke this off, so I might as well get rid of it. Broke it by accident. The roots are so fine that it wasn't obvious to me that I should repot, but yeah, I'm repotting. And it's not because the roots are growing out the bottom, but this is reaching the edge of the pot, and I want to be sure that it can keep growing along the surface like a crawler. I think that's how it's going to do best. So, new pot. Rest her gently. If there are fungus gnats in this mix, I'm going to be so angry, but what can you do? I don't think it really matters, to be honest, at this rate, the way everything is infested, but hopefully the systemic will do its job. Just going to water a bit. This watering can, I keep a mosquito dunk in this watering can and just let the water in there steep, to release the BTI. And I'm just going to be much more on top of that and doing it constantly, because I don't want to have to resort to, I know diatomaceous earth will do the trick, but it's not going to work for this plant because you have to water this plant all the time. It's thirsty. When I just had a bunch of philodendrons, monstera, and snake plants, and I got fungus gnats, it was so easy to get rid of them because I simply stopped watering everything. And you'd be surprised at how long most philodendrons can go without water and they won't suffer. So all I had to do was just dry those out like crazy, and the gnats were no more. But it's not so easy this time around, unfortunately, because these plants, some of them are just so, they just do not do well without water. Unfortunately, I have to water more than I would like to keep the plants healthy. I'm not willing to sacrifice their health. But let's hope that this gnat issue, the mosquito dunks and the fungus gnat and the systemic, take care of the gnats, because I'm over it. Go. This looks really good. Now, this is slightly too high. I'm gonna put some more soil because it's kind of a little too high above the ground. I've actually run out of soil mix, but I'm gonna focus purely on the area where the rhizome is growing, just so that it has something to kind of tap into, you know. I think that should take care of it. Oh, look, here's a fungus gnat already buzzing around. Phenomenal. Anyway, let's water. And let's finish things off with my DIY neem oil, peroxide, and peppermint soap spray. That's it. I think this is our only repot for the day. Whew, the rest, I think, just need some good water, fertilizer, and a good spray down. Right, now that the begonias are sorted, let's water the rest of the plants in the corner. And then when we're done with watering them, we can move on to dealing with the bookshelf. There's a new leaf on this guy. Very lightly variegated, but I'll take it. In addition to obviously the mosquito dunk in the water, I've got some liquid fertilizer in here as well. At the moment, I'm using, what am I using? I'm using Dynagrow Foliage Pro, and there's also some slow release in here. Okay, I'm just gonna wipe down the leaves. Gently, gently. I'm kind of lazy right now, but I should really be doing front and back. But who has time today? I'll get the back next time. There's this one half moon leaf that is so trashed, and I just keep holding on to the destroyed leaf for some reason. Silly, I know. Oops, okay. Just had a look at the back, and I guess I will be spraying the back. It's not looking great. With alocasia, I feel like it's most important to clean right where the stem meets the leaf, because that's where those spider mites and other pests love to hide for the most part. I'm gonna avoid the latest leaf just because I don't want to damage it. I'm gonna clean the others. Everybody gets nice and shiny, clean. Back when I didn't have so many plants, I actually used to do this every single week to each plant. And I do think that that laid the foundation for just how healthy some of these were. So I do want to try to get back to that. I obviously won't be able to do it to all of them every single week, but maybe at least the high risk ones, right? Like alocasias, for example. If you wipe on alocasia with this once a week, you're not going to see spider mites. That's the truth. It's just the tediousness of doing that to all the plants sometimes prevents me from maybe singling out the ones that it would make the most sense for. So I'm going to try to be a little bit more strategic, because again, the whole point of these plant care rituals is enjoyment and relaxation, which, if it becomes a tedious chore, then that defeats the purpose. So anytime it starts to feel stressful and not fun is when I know that it's time to reduce the number of plants or adjust how I care for them. Okay, so that's you done. Isn't she a beauty? So dry. So dry. All right, these are starting to yellow. Whatever. There's water. This mix, I think, is too heavy on tree fern because it dries out very rapidly. Granted, it is in a location with a lot of light, but still, I think I need to put some vermiculite or something that will hold more moisture in there just to help it out. When I'm in a hurry, I just water everything in place, but honestly, it's not ideal to do that. It's better to pull them out and water them deeply so I can see. But if I was in a hurry, I would just go giving everybody a little bit of water. Um, yeah. These leaves, when I spray them, I don't do any wipe down, so I just give it a quick spray and that's it. I'm just gonna put a bag down to catch any drips. So I don't want neem oil on my rug. This last bottom leaf is battered and ugly, so I'm gonna chop it off. Get the scissors. So I got rid of this one because it's ugly. To be honest, I should probably be getting rid of this one too. What do we actually need that for? You know what? Yeah. So 2 leaves gone. I'm leaving her with 2 leaves. And even though this one has this, which I think is spider mite damage, but I can't be 100% sure, I'm gonna leave it because I think it's still damage and all. It's still a gorgeous leaf. So yeah, this is fine. I'll put her back where she belongs and get the next victim. Dump this. Now, all the way in the corner is my Hoya obovata, and kind of growing, nestled right beside it slash above it is my donkey tail succulent. Those two plants, I water them in place. I don't pull them out. Now, the Hoya, I could pull out, but it's so tucked under the donkey tail that, like, when you pull it out, you lose a lot of donkey tail leaves, and there's so many plants around it. I'd have to basically pull everything out, and I don't want to do that today. So I'm gonna water the Hoya in place. The donkey tail succulent, basically, ever since I repotted it, it just stays in there. I don't bring it out. If I were to try to take that out of that pot, I would lose half the plant. So it's going to be in that pot till the end of time. So I'm just gonna water it. And honestly, I just kind of have a rough idea of how much water. I just try to do a little bit. Um, I try to do a little bit whenever I remember. But yeah, it was, I think, a lot more robust and healthy when it was living by my window, purely because I basically watered that thing every time I stopped by. And I just think I had a better handle on how much water. I do not want to water it to the point that the bottom of that pot rusts. And that's my biggest fear. Ugh, see, lost some leaves just like that. That's my biggest fear. So that is why I don't kind of take it out and I try not to overdo it with the watering. Anyway, so that's that guy. Let's water the obovata next. Actually, to be honest, in order to do a good job for the Hoya obovata, I want to water it deeply. That means I don't want to have to worry about water coming out the bottom. So I'm going to get a saucer to put underneath where the little sort of hole is. And I'm going to pull a couple of the plants that are around there out so I can see what I'm doing better. All right, let's water. Okay. Just trying to get the soil as thoroughly soaked as I can without destroying my wood floors. One of the big things that grew this Hoya huge was constant watering. I know people don't believe it, that Hoyas need a lot of water, but actually they do. I personally do not believe in drying Hoyas out. I think lots of water and lots of sun and lots of fertilizer is what has always worked for me. So that is what I've always done with that girl. I'm gonna water it some more because no water has come out of the bottom of that pot yet. So I'm gonna water it until I see water come out of the bottom. And then, in the interest of time, I think I'm gonna water the rest of them really quickly, and then we'll move on to the bookcase. After I water them, I'm gonna quickly spritz them, spray them, and then let's do the bookcase, okay? Whew. Finished with the plants. It's dark outside. Anyway, let's begin decluttering the bookshelf. Before we start, shall I show you my bedside book stack? I try to keep around 5 books on my bedside, my to be read, my immediate TBRs, which, as we've discussed, I haven't been reading at all. I think last year I read 2 books, one and a half. So it's kind of, it's ridiculous at this point, but I want to show you anyway so you get a sense of what I have coming up, what you have to look forward to. Okay, so this is my current bedside book stack. When I finish these books, they'll go into the bookshelf here. I do have another smaller bookshelf in my bedroom that's full of a ton of books as well. So, kind of trying to figure out how to come up with a system of where to put what. I don't know yet, but number one, Sunrise on the Reaping. I've been reading this book since I think I pre-ordered it, so I've had it since whenever it came out last year, and I've been reading it since then. Just for reference, this is the kind of book that in days past I would have finished in a day or two, maybe. I would have flown through this because this is obviously a super easy read. It's a prequel in a series of however many, so you already know the world, and I have no idea why it's taking me so long to read this book. Well, I do know. It's because I've been scrolling and, doing everything except for reading. But this year, that changes. This year, that changes. So I'm, I would say I'm about 4/5 of the way through the book. And more than half of that was done over the last couple of days. So I think I'm on the right track, getting back into it. And yeah, this is number one on my TBR. Or that's the book that's a lie. It's not my. So yeah, this is what I'm currently reading. Number two is Alchemized. I've had this book, I don't know, I'm always buying books. I'm always buying them and then not reading them. Anyway, I bought this probably not that long ago, but I'm ready to delve in and read it. I did read the fan fiction that this book is based on, so I'm interested to see how different it is from the source material. And then next is this book. Can I just say, I actually don't know anything whatsoever about this book. I just bought it because both of those books are very they're very fantasy based, right? And I just thought I don't want to, I'm not someone who reads exclusively fantasy. I read a lot of literary fiction as well. So I thought it'd be good to have some kind of saga in between. Let's hope I actually get my act together so I can plow through this and tell you what I think. And then this one, which this is another dark fantasy, but I've heard really good things about this. I actually have a few books, a few of the young adult books by this author, but I did not, I haven't read any of her any of her grown up stuff. The young adult stuff is for me was okay. I enjoyed it kind of, but I read it at a time when I was just remember those days when people were just churning out one YA book after the other, and there were all these basically after the Hunger Games, everybody just kept writing dystopian books, and I kept reading them. So those books I think it was called Legend. I can't remember what else was in the series, but it was that series, and they were okay. They were okay. Not very memorable to me, but I've heard that this is amazing. So let's see if I can get my act together and get reading so we can see if this is indeed amazing. And lastly, Dream Count. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is basically one of my favorite authors ever. You know, she's up there. She's in my top three for sure. Um, so of course, as soon as this book came out, I ordered it again. Just a testament to where I am in my head that I haven't even opened this book. In the past, I would not have eaten or slept until I finished whatever her new book was. And so I am ready to get back to being that person. And again, the only way to do that for me, I think, is to increase my analog activities. So put away my phone, you know, just get rid of the distractions, dedicate time, and just read. So that's what I'm doing. So yeah, that is my bedside book stack. Now let's do something about this bookshelf, shall we? So the shelf itself is from CB2, I think it's from CB2, and I've had it for several years now. Actually, when I bought it, I got it for the living room with the intention of having not just books on it. I wanted like mixed media type shelving. But having kind of lived with it for some time, I think maybe I'm just not a mixed shelving kind of person. I actually think I've come to the conclusion that for me, I like my bookshelves to have books on them. Like, I thought I wanted like some knickknacks here, some this and that there, but it's just not me. It's not who I am. I have knickknack. I have like little sculptures and cute things like, well, not cute, yeah, but like this guy. You know, I have things like that, but I'm just not really into. There's nothing that makes me happier than just seeing my shelf full of books, and I like books that I've read, books that I'm going to read, and books that mean a lot to me. That's what I like to have on my bookshelf. So I'm going to be kind of trying to sort of work my way through all the other stuff that's on there because other people probably have it together more than we do. But in our house, every surface basically becomes a dumping ground. And so when we start putting bits and pieces on the bookshelf, the kids, the cleaning lady, everyone just throws stuff on there. Me, we're all guilty of it. We just chuck stuff on there. It's just another surface to throw things on. Like pasta, healthy pasta that a brand sent me, Carbadium, is just sitting on the bookshelf. Why? So I want to just kind of go through each level, clean out the books. Any books that I don't want or that I'm not going to keep for whatever reason, I'm going to get rid of. I have to say that I, over the years, have been very, very good about only bringing in or only keeping books that I like. If I read a book that gives me the absolute ick, like I can't stand it, it is immediately getting donated to the library or a shelter or a daycare. I don't keep books. I need to be better about doing the same with my children's books, but I rarely keep books that I don't like. So I'm probably not going to need to get rid of too much, but just maybe move things around. I'm going to clean the shelves themselves and we'll see. So let's start at the tippy top shelf. Top shelf is the only plant on this whole thing, which because I spent quite a bit of money on this bookshelf, I really did not want any plants on it, just because I don't like the stress of having plants that need water on a wooden shelf. I have glass shelves in my bedroom and that's full of plants, but these I just wanted like books, dry things. So at the top is a pothos. I hate pothos. Sorry, I hate them. I hate pothos, but I have one at the top there. It's a golden pothos. There is absolutely no additional light up there. So that pothos gets very, very little light. All the light it's getting is basically whatever's reflected off the white ceiling, and it just handles it like a champ. So that is impressive. And I used to have, I think, a jade pothos up there, but it actually struggled compared to this one, which is strange, right? I had a neon somewhere there that I don't like pothos, so I just got rid of all those. And this is one of two pothos plants that I have left in the house. But to be honest, I'll probably be getting rid of the other one soon too, and I'll just be down to one. I do think I will always keep this one just because I like that pop of green there, and nothing else other than this plant I don't think would survive up there. So we're gonna just quickly water that pothos up there. And then I also have three basically coffee table books up top. So yeah, we've got the pothos and then a little vase and three coffee table books. I'll show you. So I'm going to pull everything down just to clean that top shelf over there. But after I clean the shelf, I will be putting those books back. The reason they live up there instead of on a coffee table is because I don't have a coffee table at the moment, but I'm on the hunt for one. So once I find a coffee table, those books will be moving to whatever I find, and I'll have to decide what I want to put up there. Okay, so this is Live Beautiful by Athena Calderon. You know, she created the brand Ice Spoon. I got this for a Christmas present, and yeah, I absolutely love this book. It's me to a T. I just wish that I had a coffee table to display it, but like, honestly, it's the most beautiful book. I absolutely love it. Like, it just has some of the most gorgeous, gorgeous moments. I mean, like, hello, hello. It's so beautiful. So yeah, I got this in a Secret Santa actually at Christmas. What a great present. Perfect gift for me. So this will go back up there for now until I get a coffee table. And then this is the only houseplant book that I keep in the living room. I don't have too many actually. I have a couple more. When I first got into plants, there were two people that helped me out the most. Daryl Chang, and I bought his book about how to care for houseplants because it was probably the most no nonsense, straightforward how to care for houseplants book out there. Just very, very obvious information. It was very quantitative, you know, none of this like fluffy descriptions. It told you exactly how much light something needed, how to water it, where to put it in the room. I think it's the perfect book for the brand new houseplant parent because it was so straight to the point, and that book really, really set me on the right path with my plants and really helped a lot. So I bought that, and then there was an Instagram account, someone named an Australian influencer, well, he was an influencer, an Australian designer who is really into houseplants called Craig Miller Randall. He had the best Instagram account. I mean, I spent the entirety of 2020 and 2021 just kind of like waiting for his uploads because I loved his content. Everything was stunning. And then he wrote a book. So I absolutely had to buy it. I love this book. Another one that like everything you need to know about plants, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, is in this book. Like, if there's a plant out there, he's probably grown it. And like, I don't mean just owned it. I mean like grown it to like crazy, crazy levels. Like, look, this is his home. This is his home. So many people who've popularized things now, um, you know, all learned from him. We all basically learned from him. So I feel like I just had to buy his book. And he's another one who really understands how to pair the plant with the pot to perfection. Beautiful book. So I'm going to keep this one. And then I've got my special edition Firefly book. My husband got this for me because I'm a huge fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, and Firefly. Ah, sadly, at the time that he bought this book for me, Joss Whedon was one of my favorite people out there. Like, just, I absolutely adored him. Unfortunately, I no longer adore him because, well, we know how that went. But his work is amazing. Right. So I'm going to clean that top shelf. It's actually really gross up there. And I think because there's a plant there, it just it gets dirty up there quicker. So I'm gonna clean it and put everything back. I'm not gonna be making any changes to the top shelf. Okay, it's nice and clean up there. Next level. Now on this shelf, when I when I started out, I wanted everything that was a biography to be on this shelf, biography or autobiography. But obviously, over time, all kinds of things have ended up there, whether they are autobiographical or not. So I'm gonna pull everybody down and let's see who belongs and who doesn't belong. Number one, Becoming, Michelle Obama. Obviously, she belongs there. I love this book. Number two, Drown, a series of short stories by Junot Diaz. I actually do not think this is, no, this is short fiction. This is not autobiographical. I do not know why it's up there, but also, fun story, I haven't actually read this book. One of his other books, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, is one of my favorite books I've ever read. Like, amazing book. If you haven't read it, read it. It's phenomenal. And so I think after I read that one, I went back and I think I found this one at a used bookstore. So I grabbed it because I think that one is based on one of the characters in one of these short stories. And so I'm pretty interested to get into this and see where that reference came from. I'm gonna get round to this, but it does not belong on that shelf. And then The Color of Water. Oh my God, I love this book. I love this book. The Color of Water, Black Man's Tribute to His White Mother, James McBride. I read this book. I think I just moved to New York. Basically, I absolutely love books that are set in New York or that were set in New York back in the day. Because I just think that now that I live here, it's just so cool to hear the references to the places that you know and that you go to when you live your life. So yeah, I think I really enjoyed this book. It's been a long time since I read it. I may revisit it because I really don't remember much other than the fact that I did really enjoy it. The other thing that's interesting about this book is when I read this book, I had not met my husband. I did not have kids. I was just like in my 20s living in Brooklyn in New York. But the author is biracial. And so a lot of the book is about sort of the complexities of his childhood. And I wonder if, I think it might be interesting to go back and explore some of the nuances that I probably missed now that I have biracial children or multiracial children. Um, yeah, I think I might actually reread this pretty soon just to kind of see if any of the themes resonate differently now that I'm so much older and have kids of my own. Needs no introduction, Maya Angelou. There was a phase when I was trying to get all, the series of books, all her autobiographical books. I think I got I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Everyone knows and loves that one, right? And then this is the second one. And then there's also Singing and Swinging and Getting Merry Like Christmas, The Heart of a Woman, and All God's Children Need Traveling Shoes. I do not have the others, and I'm thinking about doing a reread of both I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings and this one, because they are I I loved those books. I bought these when I was in university in Leeds in the UK back in 1999. So long time ago. But look, it's still in phenomenal condition. I don't know where. I'm not sure where exactly the first one has disappeared to, but I'll dig it out. And I'm not even sure if they sell them in individual volumes like this in the US. I don't know. I'm going to have to explore and see. But this does belong with autobiographical books. Um, Howls at the Sun. I do not know what this is. Dylan Diaz. Who is that? I have no idea what this is, but my husband is a teacher, and this was written in 2018. So I have a feeling that it's either one of his students or maybe a coworker. I'm not sure, but this does not, it's a book of poetry, so it doesn't belong on the autobiographical shelf. I'll have to figure out where he wants it. I'm probably not going to read it. I don't, does this make me bad? I kind of don't really enjoy reading poetry very much. And then The Motorcycle Diaries, another book that I brought with me from the UK. Um, Everybody knows, you know, Che Guevara's autobiographical novels. I think this is arguably the most famous of the bunch. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed reading this, and they made a movie several years later. I think this is better. I can't remember, but I I did like this. Just going through this is reminding me of how much more stuff I used to read. I can't believe how far I've fallen. Like the fact that when I was at uni or in my early 20s, I was reading just about everything I could get my hands on and made sure to bring so many of those books with me. But now, barely read anymore. It's kind of sad. Let's hope I can fix it. And then, of course, we have Barack Obama, Dreams from My Father. Very important book. I love this book. And Teacher Man by Frank McCourt. Frank McCourt is more famous for Angela's Ashes, I believe, but my husband's a teacher, so we have Teacher Man. I actually have not read this one, so we'll keep it, but I'm going to put it at the other end of my bookshelf. One second. It's okay, go ahead. This one. The Glass Castle. Definitely autobiographical. And then we've got Naked, Sedaris, autobiographical. Is it? I mean, yeah, it is, right? Definitely not autobiographical. Zaytun, though, I guess Zaytun qualifies as a biography, right? Like it's someone's story. It's not Dave Eggers' story, but it's someone's story. Like it's a true story, so I think I should put it with the biographies. Hmm. You know what? I'll put anything that's true with yeah, it's a true story. So Zaytun can go up there. The Wind Up Bird Chronicle obviously doesn't belong there. This is actually my husband's. I've never read this. I've never read any Murakami. That's something I need to rectify. And 100 Years of Solitude. I mean, it's kind of hard with this one because, like, this story is about the mythical town of Macondo, right? But it's obviously. No, I'll put it with the fiction. It is fiction. I would say the vast majority of the books are literary fiction. That's basically what I used to read most. Probably what I still read the most. Snowflower and the Secret Fan, not autobiographical, pure fiction. More Sedaris. Did I read this one? Can't remember if I read this one or not. I think I did. And then this book, Man and Boy, which I used to love. Another book from that I brought over from the UK. This book is by the author of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which I was obsessed with for years. So I bought the follow-up book and then I never read it. And I think I bought this in England, yes. £7.99. And yet I never read it. So maybe one of these days I'll get around to reading it. This is not mine. I haven't read it, but I know it's really good and I'm gonna. And then this I bought in Colombia when I bought it when did we go to Colombia? 2 years ago? Or 3 years ago? What year was it? That's what I'm asking you. Last year was Mexico. The year before that was not Colombia. The year before that was Belfast, I think. Belfast and Portugal. Is that the year before? Is it Belfast? Is it Belfast in Portugal? Where in Portugal would we have gone? Where did we go? We went to Belfast and Portugal? Oh, of course, to the domes. 2.5 years ago, we went to Colombia and there was this, yeah. Remember that really nice bookstore? Anyway, we went to this really cute bookstore in Cartagena and I just felt like I wanted to buy something. Whenever we go to a different country, I usually like to buy something by an author um, from that country. But as you can imagine, oftentimes it's actually difficult to find an English language book by someone speaking the language of the country you're in. So it's really always a convoluted mission that makes no sense, right? But this one time, luckily, they had a ton of English language books at this store. And of course, as the most famous author, um, a lot of Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And so I got this one because I don't have this one. And this is basically a bunch of pieces from when he rose to fame as a journalist. So this is a bunch of pieces from then. And I have not read them yet, but actually they will be on next on my list to read. I think there's like 50 different journalistic pieces in here. So this is probably a good book to read while I'm reading something else, because short short form nonfiction like this will not, it won't hold me. I probably don't want to read the whole thing all the way through in one sitting, but yeah, maybe I'll get into this soon. This can stay on the nonfiction shelf. Autobiographical. It's not biographical or autobiographical. It's nonfiction and it's journalism. However, I do kind of think that I should keep it. I'm not sure I have enough. I'm not sure I have enough autobiographies to fill a shelf, and I don't have crazy amounts of nonfiction either. Actually, what I might do is have most of the shelf be the autobiographies and the biographies, and then round it off with like random bits of nonfiction. That would work. What's next? And then we've got these. These are all literary fiction. They do not belong on that shelf. I've read these two. I haven't read this one actually. This looks really interesting, right? I haven't read it. I'm gonna start a pile of books that I haven't read yet, so that I can put everything I want to read on the same shelf. Hillary Clinton's book. I actually literally just got this late last year. She gave a talk at the 92nd Street Y that I attended, and she gave us a free copy of her book. I have not read it yet, but I want to. I'm going to put it in the pile of books that I haven't read. The House on Mango Street. I loved this book. Of course, this is very much autobiographical, so I'll put it with others. And then this, I went through a phase of reading all of Lisa C's books. Like I literally have all of them. I used to love them. I've read it, so but it's obviously fiction, so put it in a different pile. And then Demon Copperhead. I really want to read this book. Yeah, when did I buy it? I bought it a couple years ago and I still haven't read it. I have a couple of Barbara King's authors to delve into, so put this on my to be read pile. My to be read pile is, we're only like one shelf in, and my to be read pile is embarrassing. Embarrassing. This is the to be read pile so far. Crazy. Let's wipe off that shelf up there and put all the autobiographies and biographies back. Oh, somehow managed to miss one. Another Lisa C., the tea girl of Hummingbird Lane. I actually did not finish this book. This is the first Lisa C. that I did not finish. I think I got 3/4 of the way through and stopped. This is probably the book that put me into a slump, because this book is miserable. Miserable. It's so miserable. I mean, there's always a lot of like sadness and stress in these books, but this one is just really, it's too much. So I kind of stopped reading it 2/3 of the way through. I actually don't think I'm gonna finish it. Maybe I'll change my mind. And I know I should give it away if I'm not gonna read it. But I'm a completionist and I have all the other Lisa C books, so I feel weird giving this one away. Right, let's put back all the other stuff. Pull them out a bit. There's not really any rhyme or reason to the order. I'm not putting them in like alphabetical order or anything, just because I know that it will change as I pull the stuff out to read and put back. What's the point? Okay, I'm not sure Zaytun really belongs there. Like, it's non-fiction, but how would you categorize Zaytun? If you've read Zaytun or any of Dave Eggers' other works, like What is the What, about Valentino Dengacek, if you've read any of those types of books, tell me in the comments, how do you categorize them? Are they biographical? Are they just non-fiction? Like, is it a biography or is it just non-fiction? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Okay, on this level, we get to finally start removing some of the things that actually don't belong here, like oh god, lost one. I think these are napkin holders. I don't know why they're on the bookshelf. Makes no sense, but I'm gonna go put them in the kitchen. This, my mother-in-law just gave this to my son. She put it in his stocking for Christmas. Let's see. I have to decide where things like this are gonna live. I might actually, because they're so tiny, I might be willing to let these live on the bookshelf, but like on their very end. So we've got two. We've got this one, and then we've got this little jade elephant. This elephant, my husband and I bought it on honeymoon in Thailand. It's a little keepsake. Maybe I'll just leave these on the shelf. Like, they're not really hurting anything, are they? All right, I'm gonna clean off that shelf first, though, before I put them back. Now, this shelf, I think, should be literary fiction, right? That's the bulk of the books that I have. So I feel like it makes sense to put literary fiction here, but like things that I've read. So I'm gonna pull stuff out, and anything that's autobiographical will go up there. So we've got, right off the bat, Anderson Cooper, Dispatches from the Edge. This book, Anderson Cooper wrote this when he went to cover Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, and this has always stuck with me. That this is a memoir. This was where I learned. I had no idea that Anderson Cooper was an interesting person before this, but this book really made me have so much respect for him. So let's put it up. Put it right beside Michelle Obama. And then, let's put the rest in piles before I start figuring things out. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I don't know how many times I've read this book. It's crazy. I read it so much. I mean, it's crazy because obviously this book is not autobiographical, but it is about a family living in the Williamsburg slums in Brooklyn. And the author grew up poor in the Williamsburg slums in Brooklyn. First of all, nothing gives me more joy than to read this book knowing how insanely gentrified Williamsburg is these days. It's kind of crazy. I like to go back to it, but yeah. Ugh, dust everywhere, dust. Gross. So dusty. Anyway, this shall I'll just put it with the literary fiction because it is fictions. Even though she obviously pulled from her life, it's fiction. Semi autobiographical, but still a novel. All right. Another book based in New York City, Fortress of Solitude. I love this book. It's fiction. To Kill a Mockingbird needs no introduction, fiction. I actually have not read this book as an adult. I bought it because I literally cannot remember. I haven't read it as an adult. I read it like when I actually read it. I'm just dusting. Books are covered in dust, so yucky. I actually, this is a book that I read when I was like 9 years old. I know that sounds crazy, but I was that kind of child, reading all sorts when I was 9. So as you can imagine, how much most of this book flew over my head. However, I do want to read it again. So I'm going to put it on my to be read pile, even though I've read it, because there's no way at 9 I got what these themes were. And then there's Never Let Me Go. This is actually my husband's book, not mine, but I will read it. And then Night by Elie Wiesel. This book is so sad to me. I mean, obviously it's sad to everyone. It's really sad. This is this is autobiographical, of course. It's basically about his experiences as a teenager in Auschwitz. So devastating. Okay, let's get the next batch. Okay, so Island of the Sea Woman, I told you, went through a massive Lisa C phase. I love this book, by the way. Really good book. Alias Grace. I actually have not read this book. I love The Handmaid's Tale, of course, one of my favorites. But I went to, I think, was it an estate sale? No, or I just went on a massive Margaret Atwood book buying spree one day, quite a few years ago. So I have a ton of her books that I actually have not read. I bought them all used from, I think it's from a site called Better World Books. I'm not sure if Better World Books is still a thing, but like I used to buy a ton of used books on there, and this is one of them. As mentioned previously, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, probably one of the best works of fiction. I love this book. It's just such an interesting, phenomenal book. If you haven't read it, give it a try. This is a great book. The aforementioned Handmaid's Tale, of course, I was obsessed with this book. Um, yeah, one of my favorites. Obviously, I read this like, I think I was like 14 when I read this book. No, 15? I can't remember. I just read this a long time ago. I don't know. I was like 13 or 14, something like that, when I read this book, and it left a massive impression. I like the TV show, but I feel like it dilutes the horror of the book a little bit just because it's just like so relentless. Where in the book, the horror just speaks for itself. And then this is the only Vonnegut book I've read actually. Like I think when I first moved to the US, I was like, oh, I need to read classic American authors because obviously in the UK we're reading British authors for the most part in school and stuff. Anyway, I had never read any Vonnegut, and I just picked this up randomly, and oh my gosh, blown away. I loved it. But then I never read his other books. I don't know why, but I will. I will say this over New Year's. I went to a wedding in Indianapolis and had some spare time. Popped into the Kurt Vonnegut Museum. It was incredible, incredible. So, I mean, I always go on and on about how I love. This is in my top 3 books of all time. I just love. this book. There's something about the structure and the format that has stayed with me for years and years and years. I love this book. I don't know why I never read his other work. Very strange, but Slaughterhouse-Five. I'm actually thinking that I might put books. I guess I'll have a shelf for like modern classics like Handmaid's Tale, Slaughterhouse-Five. Those books are, they don't belong on the same shelf as like some random romantic, you know, claptrap. Catch 22. I have not read it. Believe it or not, I have not read it. But I know that it is a classic. Sarah's Key. I went through a phase of reading World War II books. I'm sure most people did. I feel like World War II, there were just always a million books about World War II. Anyway, this was one of them. I read it and I enjoyed it very much. I have not read this book. I bought it. I don't remember why I bought it. I haven't read it. Has anyone read it? Is it good? Anyway, on my to be read. And then The Lost Continent by Bill Bryson. I actually have read like a third of this book. And now that I live in the US, I feel like I definitely need to read the whole thing because it probably will be even funnier now. So this is on going into the pile of books I'm about to read, to be read. Running with Scissors. I mean, it's kind of weird. It's like, yes, it's a memoir, but now we know everything was fake. So do I put it under fiction or non-fiction? What do you guys think? I'll still put it, I guess I'll still put it with the memoirs, but like it's not really it's not really a memoir, is it, given that he made up some of the stuff? Memoirs of a Geisha. This was my gateway book into reading lots and lots of fiction about Asia. I just went through a phase when after this came out of, and I was a teenager in the UK when I read this. Then I just went through a phase of buying everything up, which in hindsight is kind of weird, but I don't know, I was fascinated and I wanted more. I loved this book back then. I haven't really gone back to read it, but I will keep it. The Secret Life of Bees. I also went through a phase of reading books that were set in the South. There's something about reading things that are from, like, I don't know, that are different from, your lived experience. It's very interesting. I did enjoy this. It really is about mothers and daughters. I think that's cool. And of course, Water for Elephants. This is just a lovely, lovely read, isn't it? I mean, I love this book. It's not my top anything, but just like a really enjoyable, great read. Whew, this is taking like way longer than I anticipated. There's so many books here. I can't believe it. Anyway, so that's shelf number 2 down. No, it's not. It's not down. All right. David Sedaris. I actually have not read this book, believe it or not. When did he write it? Okay, he wrote it in 2019. So obviously I was already like buying books and not reading them. But yeah, I bought this and then just proceeded to not read it. What's it even about? I mean, I think me asking what it's about, but like we know what a Siddhar's book is going to be about. So yeah, I do not know why I haven't read it, but I will put it on my to be read pile and read it. And then the last 3 books on the shelf, Anita Shreve, The Pilot's Wife. Ugh, this book is really good, but my God, I cried. I don't know if I'm going to read this book again. I don't know if I'm going to read this book again, but I'll keep it on my shelf because it is good, but ugh, like misery literature. It's just miserable, miserable. And then we've got David Lammy, Tribes. Um, this is this is kind of basically part memoir, part, like, um, David Lammy is a British politician. Obviously, everyone knows that, but probably the most prominent Black British politician out there. And so I'm really interested to read his take on like his experiences, because I just feel like a lot of these types of books are written by like Black Americans, but not necessarily Brits. So I'm super interested to see his perspective. I have not read it, but I have not had it very long. This is one that I bought. I think I bought it when he became foreign sec, so maybe last year. I can't remember. No, maybe it was a year before last. I don't know, whatever. I haven't read it yet, but I will put it on my to be read pile. And lastly, The Morning Star by not Morning Star by Pierce Brown. This is the third book in the Red Rising series. Where's Red Rising? It's here somewhere. I have read Rising. Anyway, this is the third book in that series. I haven't read this one because and this is why. I read the first one, loved it. It was one of the best sort of fantasy-ish, sci-fi-ish books I had read. And then I was reading the second one. It was going really well, and then I don't know what somehow the book got wet and the back 3 pages got ripped. The back few pages got ripped out, so I didn't finish it. And I just have not been able to bring myself to read that book from scratch because I know I won't be able to follow it without going back to read Red Rising again. And I don't know, this sounds crazy, but with me not having read so many books, I just kind of feel like I want to read other things before I go back and restart. So yeah, I'm gonna have to read Red Rising again and then read the second one. I can't remember what it's called. Maybe Golden Sun, I think. And then finally get around to reading this one. So I'll put it on my to be read pile, but if I'm being dead honest, it'll be a while before I get to this one because I know I have two others to read before I even jump into this. Right, let's clean the shelf and then I guess we can put the ones we've read back on that shelf in no particular order. I'll probably have to just go around and shuffle things later, but I'm thinking literary fiction for the most part can go here. Modern classics can go somewhere else. Where will actually, maybe modern classics can go here. No, literary fiction can go here. Modern classics can go somewhere else. Okay, let me clean the shelf. This does not belong here. So these are all some kind of just literary fiction, I guess. These I'm putting under the modern classics umbrella. I haven't decided what shelf I'm gonna put them on yet. There's this on this level. This is also just literary fiction. This book, oh, I read this book. When did I read it? I read it during all the protests, during things during the BLM movement. I read this book. I mean, this book is heart-wrenching, to be honest, but it was good. I enjoyed it. It is written from a YA perspective, though, so I don't know if I should separate YA from regular lit fic or if that's getting too into the weeds. I'll leave it here for now while I figure out what I'm doing. Let's go down a level. So this level is supposed to be for classics, but there's a lot of junk here, so I'm gonna move my old man. I brought him back with me from Nigeria. He's from the arts and crafts market in Nigeria. I love him. I'll just put him here for now. Okay, we've got the poems of Dylan Thomas. Again, I'm not really a poetry girl, but Dylan Thomas is classic, so I will keep it. So clearly, I underestimated just how long this was going to take because not only did I not finish the bookshelf yesterday, I think I got like half of 2 shelves done. And then the kids came home, I made dinner, my husband came home, we played a board game, and before you know, bedtime. So I thought, abandon ship, but I'm back today to continue. And before we go back to the bookshelf, let me show you how things are looking with the plants that we took care of yesterday. Everything looks pretty good, pretty good. Here's the repots we did. I do think it looks pretty happy. I mean, obviously, it's too soon to sort of assess the repot as a success, but like, I think things look pretty good. What else? I cleaned everything in this corner. There's still quite a bit of plant Tetris to do, and things need to be rearranged. I'm going to be moving that rubber tree to my bedroom. That's kind of a story for a different day. And believe it or not, there's a tiny Spiritus Sancti in that corner that needs a moss pole. So we'll do that. We'll probably do that next week sometime. So pop in next week to see what we do with the Spiritus Sancti and with the other things. But for now, let's get back to the books, shall we? So these are the books. Hold on, there's a couple of other bits I'm gonna take off, but like, I'm almost embarrassed to say that these are the books that I have not read yet. That just off of 2 shelves alone, I've come up with this many that I either haven't read or I read them so long ago that I don't remember what the story is about and probably need to read them again. So yeah, these 3 obviously are going on a modern classics shelf that I will be starting, although I'm not sure I have enough modern classics to fit, but let's put it there anyway. It's kind of tough because, yeah, modern classics, fiction that is. And then this is my to be read. So yeah, I ended up with so many more books on my to be read than I thought would be the case. I'm mildly embarrassed, to be honest. Well, is embarrassed the right word? I'm very motivated to read them all. I'm gonna just keep them out here for now because I just think it doesn't really make sense putting them on the shelf without categorizing them. And so let's continue to work our way through the rest of the shelves. So here's where we left off. Those are the top 2 shelves that we got done. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. Those are done. The shelves are clean. Obviously, we still have space on both of the shelves. So there's a good amount of space on both of them for autobiographical / biographical and, contemporary fiction, literary fiction, whatever you want to call it. There's a good amount of space, but we also have a ton of books to work through. So let's move on to the next shelf and see how that goes. Okay, so let's put these guys up here. On this shelf, we have Red Rising. Someone obviously has just dumped it in there, as you do. But like I said, I read this one and enjoyed it. Got almost to the end of the other one. Lost the back few pages. Have the third. Haven't read it. So I'm going to have to read Red Rising again. So I'm just going to put it on my to be read pile. Not because I haven't read it, but because I know I have to read it again in order to get where I'm going. And then we mostly have classics on this shelf, like true classics, like Pride and Prejudice, Alice in Wonderland, Crime and Punishment, The Sun Also Rises by Hemingway. I'm not gonna lie, I've never read Crime and Punishment. I'm not putting it on my TBR because I can't promise you I'm gonna read it. Sorry. Or should I? Is that cheating? You know what? Let me put Crime and Punishment on my TBR. Why not? Ooh, I got interrupted yet again. And so I just decided to take the opportunity, have a shower, change into my PJs, and then, continue. So hopefully I get to finish without more interruptions. Anyway, so we're working on the classics shelf. I think I'm going to move these to a lower shelf and use this shelf for all the books that I haven't read yet. So let's just clean it off. Now, while I was going through the classics, I found this, J.K. Rowling's Casual Vacancy. Honestly, I think I'm going to donate this. I don't think I'm going to keep it because I've had it for... First of all, it shouldn't be on the classics shelf. I have no idea why it got there, how it got there. But I've had it for years now. I was a massive, massive Harry Potter fan. I first read them, I think, while I was getting A-levels. So maybe like 90... 98, 97, 1997. Anyway, I loved those books. Like I used to take my copy of Philosopher's Stone to nightclubs with me. It's my comfort read for a long time. I'm odd like that. Anyway, so I bought this years ago thinking, you know, I want to read it, but I just never got round to it. And to be honest, I don't know, it just doesn't really appeal to me. So I'm going to put this on the to be donated pile. But if you've read it and you think I should be reading it, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, bye bye, JK. So other than that, the rest of the classics are things like Canterbury Tales. I mean, I read these in class in school. I'm not going to read that again. I'm not too bothered. Pride and Prejudice, old classic. Fun fact, I have 2 copies of Pride and Prejudice. This one, I don't know, this is just a regular paperback copy that I've had for a long time. And then this sort of nice hardback copy that I got given a while ago. I might donate this one because do I really need 2 copies of Pride and Prejudice? Love it as much as I love it. It's not necessary. So I think I'm going to donate this one and then keep the, you know, the nice hardback one. The Count of Monte Cristo. This is my favorite. I mean, I usually like character-driven stories, but the plot kind of is so crazy. Everything just accelerates. I mean, this is a fantastic read. I think if you're not really into reading classics, this is actually a very good gateway. It's massive. So look at this door knocker, but it's so readable. It's so easy to read that I think that this is a really good choice. So don't be intimidated by the size. I love this. Anyway, I'm gonna clean the shelf and put the rest of the classics that I have down below. Just make some space because I think that if I try to delve into those now, I'm just gonna be stall again. Classics are good for when I've been doing a lot of reading and I'm really in the swing of things. And then, yeah. So things that I want to read from this shelf that I have are, well, I have Lolita, but I've read it. I have The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois. I have never, ever read this. It's a book of essays. So I don't know if I should put this on the to be read shelf. Because again, similar to poetry, I'll probably just pull it out. Although, yeah, let's put this on the to be read. Because I want to read it. And everything else, like Alice in Wonderland, the poems of Dylan Thomas, Walt Whitman, they can all just go down below. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, I've cleaned this shelf and I'm going to start putting some of the books that I want to read on there. This is actually inaccurate. I'm going to change it again because in my bedroom there is a whole bookshelf of books that are essentially one big TBR. I'm ridiculous, but let's just put the ones I haven't read on here. I'm not going in any particular order. I'm just throwing them up there and then I'll come back in and clean it up. Here's a closer look at everybody on the shelf. It's actually a perfect fit. There are a lot of other books that I have not read, mostly in my bedroom. So this is gonna be a work in progress. It's going to evolve significantly. I think I'll move some of the books that I have read, I don't care about, into into that shelf in my bedroom. I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest, but again, everything on this shelf I have not read. And then as I read them, they get distributed to other places. I think that's kind of a cool system, right? Anyway, so there is absolutely no way that I'm going to be able to finish this entire bookshelf tonight. Look how long it's taking me. But maybe we can do, should we do one more? Should we do this shelf and then continue? This level is tricky because I've got my Sonos right here, which I want to keep here because it's, you know, it's great for music. And then there's this. This is a philodendron majestic that I propagated a while ago, and I just have been neglecting it horribly, but it has some pretty nice roots actually. So maybe I'll pot this up later on tonight. The mother plant is in my bedroom on a moss pole. So I think I'll just add these to that pot instead of giving it a new one. I was just waiting for it to have like secondary roots, and it does now. So I think it's now the perfect moment to use them to fill out that pot. So I'm gonna do that. I'll probably do it tomorrow, actually. I also have these jars of tea. These are actually from a company that I worked with last year or 2 years ago. Anyway, they sent me an insane amount of tea, multiple flavors. There's this one, there's lemongrass moringa, there is cocoa choco black tea. There's just a ton of tea. I think I'm gonna move the teas away from here. In addition to all the tea, I have some graphic novels on this shelf. There is this series, which I love, Why the Last Man. Great series, but I don't know if I don't know if I should be keeping these so high on the bookshelf, because like I've read these a million times. I'm definitely not going to read them again. I actually contemplated storing them in the kids' room, but I think the themes are still a little too adult for the kids. Maybe my daughter could read these, actually. It might be all right for my daughter, but I don't. No, I think it's a bit much. Might wait till she turns like 15 or 16. But I'm going to put these down on the bottom shelf. I think comics and graphic novels I've already read can go down. The reason I'm doing it like this is I want to keep things on these two shelves, which are basically, you know, sort of the first thing you see. I want to make sure that I have books that I haven't read. So every time I pass by, you know, they're easily accessible. So even though we have music here, on either side, I will keep. You already know my skeleton don't even stop like that. My soul nearly left my body. I'm gonna have books on either side, but it will be books probably that I haven't read yet. So I'm gonna pull these out and then just add some more books that I haven't read. I'm gonna grab some from elsewhere on the shelf. Okay, so the last books from that shelf, Foxes and Saints. This is graphic novel, phenomenal. This can go with this. Actually, I think that can go in the kids' room. That's a good. And then these two books, Clara and the Sun, which I have not read, but I've heard really good things about, and Deep Work. My husband got this. Maybe I should read this. Maybe it'll help me focus. Anyway, since I haven't read either of these, they can stay on this shelf. Probably put them this end. And then I have I grabbed these books I have not read. They were just like off to the side of my bed on the floor in the room, and they're not part of the stack I just showed you. So Salt to the Sea, I don't know what that is. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, you know, who wrote The Martian. I'm dying to read that, but I'm being very disciplined and I'm just following my stack. And then I have these Kennedy Ryan books, which I have never actually read, but everyone raves about. I'm guessing they're going to be good, easy reads for like once I get in the swing of things. So I'll put them here. And classic, James Baldwin, Go Tell It on the Mountain. So Long a Letter by Mariama Ba. I guess I'll consider that a classic. Although for a period I did have a segment where I put like books by African authors. So I'm not sure if I'll put her in there, but I haven't read it yet. And Stay With Me. This is another literary book by a Nigerian author. I haven't read it yet. So I've got a ton of books I haven't read. Shelf is looking good. I would say that we're making extremely solid progress. I'm not going to finish it tonight because it's not realistic, but I've really enjoyed this process. It's made me realize just how dusty this is, and I have way more work to do on this bookshelf than I thought. So maybe we attack the rest of it again in a couple of weeks. Like we've started the process, things are looking good, and you know, let's come back in a couple of weeks and see how things look. In the meantime, I'm gonna work on my book stack and we'll see how I get along. Till next time, I'll see you.